Well, I have an organization I've put together called the Global Musician Academy. Notes that float, just to specify that it is on the ocean. And I'm got a program going to get them connected. So I teach them, what's going to happen on board and what you're going to have to do ahead of time, how to get their promo put together, what it is the agents are looking for. Because I am not a hiring agent. I talked to the agents at one point and said, can I be an agent? And they went, whoa, sure. We'd love to have you. Love your, experience is great, but you need to live in Miami. I said, no, not going to happen. So no, I'm too much of I'm a West Coaster. Sorry.
Oh, ships come out of here quite a bit in Seattle.
Yeah. But that's where their central offices are and that sort of thing. Most of them.
Well, doesn't Holland America have an office here?
Yes, they do. They do.
Let's ring them up. Get you going there.
I'll give that a shot. Because a lot of these are not going through the company directly. That's the thing. They're
third party application.
Yeah, they rely on the agents to screen a lot of things ahead of time because they're so inundated with so much stuff. They can't handle it all. So the agents know all of the companies. They know all of the ships. They know the clientele of each of them because some are more geared toward an older crowd. Some are more, party band, central sort of things. So, knowing who the clients are amongst the various ships and their companies and what they're looking for.
Is there comedians on these ships too?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Comedians, jugglers.
Jugglers.
Oh, yeah.
Don't tell me there's mimes.
No mimes. Not that I've seen. But we do have jugglers. We have people with ladders and machetes. And in fact, it was sad. There was one magician, juggler / magician, who had gotten on board in Tampa, and he had all his equipment in his big case, and he had machetes and things in there. And he was traveling with his 16-year-old daughter, who was kind of the plant for his show, because he'd get somebody from the audience to come up and get on his shoulders, and he'd climb a ladder and and juggle his machetes, things like that. It's like, oh no, you can't ask guests to do things like that. It's kind of a insurance issue. So, they got on board in Tampa, and, for some reason he went to do his show in a couple of days and they had not boarded his equipment. Say, what? Well, they'd run it through the X-ray and saw machetes.
Yeah.
It's like, no. So he had to wait till the next cruise before he could do his show. So much of the poor girl's distress because she didn't have all her wardrobe. But
maybe you alter your gig to not include chainsaws and machetes.
Yeah, you kind of have to. Yeah, there's no fire involved. Sometimes they, put hoops on fire and things like that. No, can't do that.
Axe juggling. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thanks.
Some are not as appealing as others.
Yeah. I'm
or
not
appropriate.
Not in the audience going, oh, I can't wait to see this guy juggle machetes.
Well, there is one guy who does like an egg with a bowling ball and a chair. It's like, okay. And he can pull it off.
Okay. If you're a juggler and you want to come on this show, don't bother asking.
You can do it. Just be careful. We just more.
Tell me some more advantages of the job working at sea.
Oh my gosh. There are just so many things. As a musician, it's particularly cool because you get to do what you love every day. And because you do it every day, you get so much better at it.
Oh, yeah. It's practicing.
It's constant practicing, and you give the chance to try out new material and work on new stuff and expand your horizons because especially if you're working like in the orchestra, they will throw all manner of stuff at you. And, they have to read like a monster just to be able to, absorb it all quickly because you've got an hour. They drop it in front of you. You've got an hour before a show. Some headliner shows up and you've got to learn it and you've got to be able to play it in a show in an hour, be ready to go.
Oh, so like the orchestra backs up whoever the entertainer is.
Yeah. And they
that-
also have production shows of their own stuff. So that one you have a little more time to practice because you're doing that like every week.
So if you're a part of the orchestra, do you usually do 2 events a day? Like you back up a performer and then you have just a straight orchestra play?
It depends. The schedule changes a lot. Depends on the weather, mostly because, if there are sea days when they have to cancel a port for some reason, they have to scramble and come up with something to entertain everybody. So they may call on the orchestra to put together something to entertain.
Why do they have to cancel ports?
Sometimes the weather is just too obnoxious. The winds may be too tough that they can't dock, or some reason that we don't get there in time because of massive weather. I mean, generally, if there are storms coming, they just go somewhere else, which is cool. You don't have to wait for a storm to come hit you, but that will delay your schedule because you have to go out of your way to avoid the turmoil.
So customers don't get upset like we're going to stop at Port-au-Prince and you're going to get out there and, oh, hey, we're not stopping at Port-au-Prince. Is there a huge line of complaints coming up after that?
Sometimes. We've had trouble with San Juan recently just because somebody, I don't know who, ran into what they call the dolphin, which is this little pillar that they tie up to with the mooring lines for the really big ships, so that if they don't fit on the dock, they have to have this little dolphin out here to tie to that. Somebody ran into it. So until they repair it, they can't take the big ships down there yet. So they've had to change some itineraries based on that, which is tough. But smaller ships can still go there. But things like that happen. So they have to be flexible. That's part of the deal with being on ships is you have to be flexible because things change all the time.
Yeah, you must put a disclaimer out there prior to people getting on ship.
Yeah, they've got that in small print on the thing. We have reserved the right to, change things if we have to, because, that can happen.
What are some of the exotic places that you've been to?
My God. I've been everywhere, man. Let me see.
You going to sing for us today?
I hadn't prepared to. I'll think of something.
Okay.
Gave you that little snip. Probably one of my favorites is Venice, just because it's so fragile. And
I got engaged in
Venice. Yeah?
Yeah, beautiful.
It's
beautiful
so
city.
cool. It's so cool. They're trying really hard to control the tide thing because, it keeps flooding. It's very sad to see these mosaics underwater.
Yeah, it's almost like people are stomping the city into the ocean.
It's like it's getting shorter, I think.
Oh, it's such a small city and there's so much travel, tourism now.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. It used to be just such a quaint place. And I remember when we went there, 25 years ago, probably, or a little less. I'm trying to calculate numbers in my brain, but there was a good bit of tourism, but nothing like, the last 10 years of tourism.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
there's so much history, so much art, so much beauty, fishing ports all over. The fishing industry is just thriving in Venice, Cesenatico and places surrounding it.
Yeah. So you can still get there. The ships don't typically go into the city anymore. You have to port out of Ravenna. So you're close. You can, bus in and have a look. But Hong Kong, Tokyo, Sydney, Australia, Hobart, New Zealand, just, Norway. So many amazing places. And that's part of what contributes to all of this. So many of these places you couldn't get to you wouldn't think to do on your own. And it's very expensive, because that's why Q kept saving all those old magazines for, the Traveler Condé Nast things, because, I want to go see some of these places.
Yeah.
But you calculate, oh my gosh, airfare and hotels and travel and
Well, it's like a working vacation for you, right?
Yeah. Because you're only working at night, which is amazing. So you've got the days generally to do what you have to do. There are things they have to be responsible for on board, like trainings and drills and things like that, because they have to keep everybody on their toes as far as what emergency sort of things might be.